Oh, good afternoon, folks. So, Bubba the Jewish Redneck Prepper back with you, and we are out here in a location called the Wrightsboro Community Area, and we're at a place that's called the Rock House. It's been out here for almost 300 years. This is probably one of the oldest houses in the state of Georgia, especially a rock house, and it was built by the Ansley family, and somehow Jimmy Carter, one of our presidents of the United States, so-called president of the United States, are descended from the Ansleys. And when we leave here, the other video we're going to make is of the Ansley Cemetery. And that in the background is a picture of the Rock House. And apparently, somebody must have been tearing up the Rock House because they put this fence up and you can't even get into it. It's got a sign over here. Let's just see what the historic Rock House signs. It's got a gate here. And see, it says Historic Rock House, property of McDuffie County, planning efforts underway with Ethos Preservation, Landmark Preservation, and Georgia Trust for historic preservation for a complete restoration of the Rock House Cemetery and surrounding property. An estimated 3 to 5 year project funded by the SPLOST grants and donation, open to public during the daylight hours only, no entry after dark. Rock House will be closed once restoration commences, patrolled by law enforcement. Okay, well, it's locked, and it's definitely daylight, and it ain't dark, but we can't gain entry to the old house. Now, I have been in this house at least once. It's a historic rock house. And I was one time back in the 70s when people, they just didn't really care about this old establishment. You can see how it's built. It's solid. It's built like a fort. Back then, families were large. Well, notice what we got down at Goldenrod. Real good tea remedy. But look at how they got the closed shutters on the old place. Basically, this old rock house is like 3 stories. You got the underground where you can see you got the bars on it. And then you got the second floor and the top floor up there. 2 chimneys on the side. And basically in old houses like that, they used to cook in the bottom, but they could close it up just in case of Indian attacks. And here in this area, folks, is where people, the Creek Indians, were at. Now, like I said, this used to be open to the public. And I'm going to try to see if I can get, it's kind of hard to get it from the front. But the front there, years ago, old pictures, used to have a porch that came off the front of the house and everything. And this is kind of like the old plantation of the old Ansley family. And I've been inside them walls, and them walls are almost like 3 foot thick. That wasn't just a house, folks. It was a fort, like a fortress. And it could endure Indian attacks and stuff. It probably people from the community and other Quakers, because the Ansleys were Quakers. And down through the history, Quakers were persecuted for their peacefulness, and they didn't believe in war, and they were anti-slavery. They were against slavery and many things. So other so-called branches of Christianity persecuted them. And another thing that the earlier Quakers believed in, like William Penn, the governor of Pennsylvania, were anti-Trinitarians. The earlier Quakers didn't believe in Trinity and such. And also the false belief that comes to us that you don't have to be baptized to be saved originally comes from the Quakers, okay? And the Quakers today don't believe you have to be baptized, and many other false denominations too that originally persecuted the Quakers now have taken up a Quaker belief, like the Baptists, don't believe you had to be baptized to be saved. But folks, I thought that this would be enjoyable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to not, instead of making 2 videos, I'm going to walk on down here to the Ansley family gravesite. Because for years and years and years, there was graves out here that were unmarked. It says keep out government property. There's graves out there that they found and they flagged, but they didn't know who was all buried there. But we're going to go down here to the area, to the Ansley grave site, and let's just document this for prosperity. Like I said, I don't understand why they got it locked up and everything like that, but this is an old Quaker community, and this is one of many Quaker families that was in the Wrightsboro. And here, when it was Warren County, Wrightsboro had a chance of growing bigger, but a little small town called Frog Pond had a railroad run through it, and it became known as Thompson. So it's amazing how history changes. We'll walk out here. I think it's a sign that says something about the historical grave and got a marker out here. But I do know up in there, I think there's other graves too, and they just let it overgrown up there. That they have been out here and they preserved. Vehicles ain't allowed up here. It says historic Ansley Cemetery and government property. That's why I can't understand how does, if it's the Ansley Cemetery, one only belonged to the Ansley family. That's amazing. But Wrightsboro was a big community, and I done did a ghost town video on it, and thinking about doing another one. But let's just get up here and see what this marker has to say. Okie dokie, and see. Okay, we got one headstone that says right here, Thomas Ansley, Georgia, Private U.S. Army. He was born in 1737 and died in 1809. And see, we got another marker here, Sons of the American Revolution, Patriot, 1775. And here it is, it says the Ansley Family Cemetery. And it says the rock house was built by Thomas Ansley Sr. here in Georgia, 1785. Owners who were probably buried in the cemetery: Thomas Ansley Sr., and then Rebecca Cox Ansley, Abel Ansley Sr., and Lydia Morris Ansley. And it's a lot of the families that's buried out here, but last time that I know, when it was tagged out here, a lot amongst these trees and all around here, you don't know, you could be walking on top of graves. And for the longest of time, this graveyard was left unkept. So there's probably sunken holes here where graves have been. And they got it clear cut around here all the way around the spot, I think. But I think most of the graves are right along in here amongst these trees. And folks, I like getting out here and doing stuff like this. And if you like old historical sites like this, about hit the like button and join us. You can't tell where old graves are, but they're out there. because like I said, I was out here years back and they had them marked off with flags. And that's been a long time ago. But this is the cemetery right here. And I remember the first time I came out here as a child. I'm 59 years old, and there was nobody out here that cared about this gravesite or anything and such. But all around here, I'm walking around, they got it all plowed up, all out in there is a burial. Okay, now I see some. Out there where they got crosses, it's where they notice. See the crosses? All the little crosses, all of those are markings of graves. Okay, folks, well, we're going to get out of here. This video talked a little bit longer than what I figured it would. And I hope you enjoy it. Plan on doing other videos like this. They don't have much to do with prepping and surviving, but you got, and somehow they do, because you got to understand, these are pioneers. This, back in the day, Augusta was a trading post and a brand new town being built up from Savannah when Georgia was a colony, first made a colony. And this right out here was considered frontier. And your Ansley family was basically a pioneer family. Okay, folks, well, this has been old Bubba reporting to you from the Rock House and the Ansley Family Cemetery. I hope you enjoy it. God bless. Enjoy the journey. Come back and visit with us sometime. Shalom.